Sunrises propel me to write and get it going, to witness the blissfulness of Mother Nature, and to enhance its atoms unto creation, unto existence. If 99% of reality is energy, or even more than that, actually 99.9 is energy, and only 0.1% is matter, then literally, why does this matter? Why does it matter? This brings up a billion questions to my mind, such as, what does that mean? Does it mean that we've been spending centuries focused on the 0.01% of the whole existence of the whole universe without paying attention to the greater proportion, or at least consciously? Then that means we know nothing. Like, this is nothing. And then secondly, if there was, for example, a plane flying up in the sky with 100 people on it, and everyone at the same time stopped believing that the plane existed and that the plane could fly and that the plane could be up there as matter, would that mean that the plane would crash? Would that mean that it would disappear? It would cease to exist? It would simply stop? Or it would be ripped off reality like a smashed paper being ripped off of a notebook? What does this mean for the ocean? Does it have any substancy? What does this mean for our consciousness? That we are conscious beings and we're putting our attention on things that don't have meaning, that are simply only a fraction of reality? Or does this fraction actually have any meaning and is much bigger than one can perceive? Just that 1.01% is already big enough. Here's the journey of actually going after these answers and understanding what all of this really means. Thankfully, I got to talk to some skillful and pretty brightful people who put an ease to all of my questions. Welcome.
So, what's going to happen is basically my journey from asking these questions, writing the prompt, like I just showed you, the sunrise prompt, and what happened from that moment until the end. All of the things that came to me.
As humans, we experience such a tiny slice of the full scale of reality.
We're all hallucinating all the time, including right now. When we agree about our hallucinations, we call that reality.
What if everything were just relations or moments over the course of a long, slow process of change?
Be aware that this is something that might question lots of things, has one of the biggest questions in philosophy, free will and determinism, has a lot of questions about consciousness and what is it the consciousness and where is it the thought come from? What is it the will behind this? So this is something that is incredibly deep, and make sure that you are in a good mental space to ask these questions and to go after these answers with me in this video. If not, maybe you can watch this later on in your life when you're ready for it, but make sure that this is something that you're ready for it, because it's gonna be a journey, all right? And it's gonna be a strong one. But if you're ready for it, I think it's gonna change you like it changed me forever.
Yesterday, I recorded a poem on reality. And is reality a perception of one? Is reality a perception of the two that are experiencing that reality that come together? Or what is it really? Or is it a mixture of the two? Is it a co-creation? And then today, beautifully, just showed up in my blink of the day. Schopenhauer's perspective on how to create reality and how reality is created. And basically what he's saying, what he's trying to say with this, is that the will is what causes reality, and the will is what causes desires. And those desires shape the reality and the experience that one has. And there's no true purpose behind any of that will. It is dependent on a few factors like the becoming, causality, motivation, knowing, and being. However, when one experiences art is the only time that you can feel a will loss, meaning that you do not have any desires. But what does that mean in the creation of reality? What does that mean? Does it mean that we are slaves until we have no desires because there's no purpose to that will and we keep on just having desire after desire in the suffering? Or life is truly just meant to have the no purpose and the constant will, and then art is here to have us escape from that experience, so we escape. But that doesn't give it a sense, though. That doesn't give it a, I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out more.
There are some kinds of information that claim to tell us something about reality. They are not trying to construct a new reality. They are trying to tell us something about reality.
Being an embodied self are more about control and regulation than figuring out what's there. Well, they're kinds of controlled hallucinations that have been shaped over millions of years of evolution.
Emotions don't happen to you, that your brain is making them, and that your brain is using your past experience as fodder for predicting what's going to happen. It involves seeding your brain to predict differently.
So, if art is the escape of this cycle of suffering, and the goal, according to Schopenhauer, is to end this world of the will, then art is really the gateway to these higher realms of consciousness. Is it the only gateway? I'm not really sure, but
Ultimately, Schopenhauer's ethics are grounded in a deep sense of the unity of all existence and the illusory nature of individuality by recognizing the shared suffering of all beings.
okay, so that individual and being an individual is an illusion. He was also saying that compassion is the base of all morality. Compassion for others and compassion for their suffering and compassion for their world of the will, their slaveness of the will. So basically we're all chained to this will, but we also all come from this will. When we penetrate the illusion of individuality and recognize that all beings are manifestations of the same will. Okay, so not necessarily art, but art is what brings the asceticism that he was talking about. Wow, so the liberation from suffering, I love that. So when one does find himself liberated from the sufferings of the will, or the liberation from the suffering itself, how is reality then created? If it's not a product of the will anymore, what is it a product of? So that would be an interesting conversation to have with someone that would know and that would be able to bring this idea forth. That I would love that. But this comment just like hit me so deep, and I think it puts it in such beautiful words, exactly what I think this show can do and what the comment section can do, because if people come together with these sort of comments and with this sort of wisdom and information, which is what is being talked about in this video, I believe that a new set of information is going to be shared with the world, and therefore a new set of, I think it can lead to new sets of realities, which is ultimately what I believe the world needs. But I'm going to read it. It's by James R. Watson X. As a collective, Our evolution hinges on the truths we discover and share together through our actions and communication. These shared truths form the foundation of our progress. Any other information, if it isn't part of our shared journey or isn't relevant to our evolution, is just noise, subjective and ineffective. It doesn't clutter or harm us because it lacks the power to shape our collective reality. The real danger is in assuming that this junk information holds the same weight as the truths that genuinely contribute to our collective understanding and growth. Truth that matters is discovered in our shared experience and connection with the world. Damn, I would put up on this. I love it. This makes me like stutter. The it's just that wow. Beautiful.
Where, depending on what story you believe about the recent past and the place you live in, that will determine the way that you see the present and then what you think the next best moves are for the future. But if nobody can agree on what their history is, then history isn't a meta-narrative anymore that unifies a society.
Storytellers have been telling stories for ages now. And these same storytellers have shaped history. And those, obviously, who are and were a bit more influential, had bigger impact on the stories that were told. But that was never the story of the majority of the people. We hear a story, and that story shapes the belief inside. So the stories that you've heard, which means your surroundings and your environment, have shaped what you believe. So is this an issue of storytelling? Is this an issue of social competition? Of always trying to have the greatest story, or to have stories that your friends and the people who you're with are going to enjoy and like it? Basically, as a storyteller myself, and someone who learned the skill of screenwriting more specifically, and telling a story through embodying a character as an actor, does it depend on us to shape this and to do this? Maybe the stories we're telling each other. Are really the key.
The way reality seems from the point of view of the mind, it conflicts with the mind's view of reality. It is the mind that superimposes its own limitations on reality and makes reality appear in a way that is consistent with those limitations.
If you are interested, go and check the comparison that he makes. A principle of consciousness that every thought and everything that the mind has constructs reality. But you going even deeper than that, it's like what's behind the mental structure, and that might even go like, what is it that you like attract, that construct your mind, that then constructs your reality? Is it because of the mission that you're doing here? Is it the mathematical that you have within your body and in your surroundings? Is it the place where you chose to incarnate? Like, could be that everything is a path of numbers, like the poem The Fingers, Ujdij, that is coming out, saying that everything is a mathematical essence in your fingers, that's how you go through life. And it could be a little bit like the Soul movie of Disney, that you kind of go through this like staircase or rollway to heaven, or coming down as well. But everything is like a path of numbers, and you just choose the numbers that you navigate towards or through. That could make a lot of sense. Let's talk with someone that actually maybe knows a little bit more